What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my main event breakdown and prediction for UFC Vegas 93. We have Tatsuro Taira going against Alex Perez. And yeah, we're back in Apex for a very fun card, in my opinion, in UFC Vegas 93. Loving a lot of these fights, and I'm loving this main event. We have a fun flyweight main event here for us. 5 rounds. It's going to be a good matchup. Can't wait to break it all down. Before we get into it, if you guys could, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Going to be breaking down this fight, talking my prediction, talking some bets as well. We have lines out on one of the books, so we'll talk some odds, we'll talk some props, and we'll see if we can make money on this main event. All right, I say we get into it here. We're going to start with Tatsuro Taira, who is 24 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach, 15-0, and obviously 5-0 in his last 5 fights. He's undefeated. Alex Perez, 32 years old, 5'6", with a 65.5-inch reach, 25-8, and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and we have Tatsuro Taira opening up minus 250. The line has came down a little bit. He's anywhere from like minus 180 to minus 190. And then Alex Perez opened up as a plus 210 underdog. Money's since come in on him, and he's anywhere from like a plus 150 to plus 165 underdog as of time of recording there. So yeah, this is going to be a test for Tatsuro Taira. Taira's went out there, and quite frankly, he's passed every fight, every test with flying colors. There hasn't really been any bad moments for the guy. He completely dominated Carlos Candelario in his debut. He dropped him, almost finished him. It was one-way traffic the entire fight. Went out there and submitted CJ Vergara, who is a very tough fighter, and one-way traffic. There weren't any bad moments in that fight, any sketchy moments. Jesus Aguilar went out there, took him down. He wasn't a guillotine attempt from Aguilar for a couple minutes, but was able to, battle some adversity, fight out of that, and then ultimately submitted him very shortly after. Great performance. And then against Edgar Chairez, again, was able to, fight out of some guillotines from Chairez, but ultimately ended up controlling that fight and pretty much dominating it. And then went out there and just wrecked Carlos Hernandez in his last fight. So yeah, 5 fights for Tatsuro Taira, 5 wins and 5 dominant wins, quite frankly. But this is going to certainly be a step up in competition for Taira, a guy that has fought, the lower level of flyweights, and now he's going to be taking on Alex Perez, who has fought for a title in the past. Who, when you take a look at Alex Perez's losses, they're against really good fighters, guys like Muhammad Mokaev in a fight that was really close. He lost to Alexander Pantoja, the champion. He lost to Davison Figueiredo, past flyweight champion. Lost to Joseph Benavidez. So those are his 4 losses: Mokaev, Pantoja, Figueiredo, and Benavidez. And I'm not even convinced he lost to Muhammad Mokaev. That was a very, very close fight there. So yeah, it's going to be a really good test for Tatsuro Taira, and we're going to see exactly where he's at. One thing to mention about Alex Perez is he went from like the least active fighter in the UFC to the most active fighter, just like that. I mean, his fight against Davison Figueiredo was 3 years and 6 months ago. He takes like a 2.5-year layoff. I think it's more like 2 years, 8 months. It was a long time. He comes back and he fights Alexander Pantoja like 2.5 years later, and then he takes like another 1.5 years off, and then he comes back and he fights Muhammad Mokaev, and that's 3 months ago. That Mokaev fight is 3 months ago. Lost that fight, like I said, very close fight, and then he comes back like a month and a half after that, and then he goes out there and not only fights Matheus Nicolau, but he knocks him out brutally in the second round. And then a month later, he is now going to be fighting Tatsuro Taira. So this is going to be like 3 fights in the last 3 months for Alex Perez, which I think is great to see him active, but that's very active. I want to see how this weight cut goes for Alex Perez. This is a guy that has struggled to get down to flyweight in the past. He has missed weight before. There have been fights canceled because he has missed weight. He's pulled out of fights before, because of weight cutting issues. So yeah, I do want to see Alex Perez on the scale, but it looks like he's starting to maybe get the weight cut down. I mean, his last 2 times he's made weight, he's looked good doing it. So, but I do still want to see him on the scale as well. But yeah, this is an interesting fight. So what does Alex Perez struggle with? So he has very good takedown defense. His takedown defense is 82%, but it is the grappling defense that kind of worries me. He's able to stuff a lot of these takedowns. Like, for example, Muhammad Mokaev, who is a pretty good wrestler, went 3 for 20 on takedowns, so which is 15%. So that means Alex Perez was able to stuff 17 of the takedowns, which is a good sign here for Alex Perez. But, once the fight does get to the mat, he does get submitted a lot. Alex Perez has been submitted 5 or 6 times in his career, but by good guys. Alexander Pantoja got to his back instantly and tapped him out there shortly after. Davis and Figueiredo got him in a guillotine and choked him out within the first minute and a half, 2 minutes of that fight. And yeah, he's been submitted outside the UFC a couple times as well. So Tatsuro Taira, I'm curious to see if he is able to get down Alex Perez. If he's able to take down Alex Perez, I do think he's going to submit him. I think Tatsuro Taira, his grappling is so slick. He's incredible on the ground. I don't think Taira is a better wrestler than Makayev, though. But, maybe that doesn't matter. Taira is a guy that can potentially take your back standing. He's just very slick, and if he can get to your back, the fight will be over very shortly after. So, on the feet, Taira's a good striker. I was impressed with Tatsuro Taira's striking, and I think it's only getting better, which is expected of a 24-year-old guy, right? Like, his striking in the Carlos Hernandez fight looked very good. And I know it's Carlos Hernandez, but still, he went out there, he hurt Carlos Hernandez very badly in the second round and finished him shortly after. And quite frankly, his striking's looked pretty good in every single fight. In the Candelario fight, showed off a lot of his striking. It looked really good, and he flashes some power for the flyweight division as well. So I actually think the fight on the feet could be fairly competitive. I like Alex Perez's striking. I like the leg kicks as well. I think the leg kicks could be a factor. But Tatsuro Taira is definitely not out of his depth on the feet. But I think the big difference in this fight is the grappling, though. Like, if Tatsuro can get this fight down to the mat, I think he easily subs it's Perez. It's just, can he get it there? Can he get it there is the question. And I kind of lean towards him doing so. 25 minutes to work with. Alex Perez, that brutal weight cut down to flyweight. I think eventually this fight is going to hit the mat. There will be a scramble. Tatsuro Taira will get to the back at one point, and when he does, I think that sub will certainly present itself. But yeah, I don't know. It's a test for Taira. Minus 190. I feel like Perez is going to be a very popular underdog this week just because he's been very active. He's looked really good. Even though he lost the Makayev performance, I think Perez's stock went up, in my opinion. And then also he went out there and knocked out Matheus Nicolau, who is very chinny, but that is a good win. So yeah, I think Perez as an underdog is going to be fairly popular this week. But it's hard for me to step in front of Tatsuro Taira at this point. I think Taira is absolutely the real deal. I think he's the full package. I like his striking. He has power. His wrestling is decent, and his grappling is incredible. His grappling is my favorite part of his game, and the grappling is what Alex Perez has struggled with a lot in his career. So for me personally, I'm going to be taking Taira to win this fight, and I'm going to be taking him to win this fight by submission as well. And in terms of a bet for this fight, I'll be looking at the Tatsuro Taira submission prop, which is getting smashed, or it has been smashed. So the Taira submission opened up plus 165, which, I don't even love that. And it even got smashed there, and it's now plus 120, which is like sickening. Like that's a sickening number there. At that point, you might as well just bet the money line. Because it covers decision and a potential knockout as well. But I do think subs most likely. It's just you don't want to be laying minus or plus 120 on a sub prop. So that's disappointing, but we'll see what other books come out with the sub prop. If I can get it at a much better number, I might be taking a look at that. So yeah, it's Taira by sub. Was the over-under set at 2.5 rounds, the over 2.5 minus 145, the under 2.5 plus 115. I do like violence here. The fight doesn't go to decision is minus 325, which is kind of insane. But we haven't seen Taira go 5 rounds. We haven't seen him go into the 4th round. Even Perez. Perez has been scheduled for multiple 5-round fights. We haven't seen him into a 4th round, I don't believe. So, yeah, I think this fight finishes, but laying minus 325 on the fight doesn't go. It's a lot. Under 2.5 at plus money, I don't hate it. Under 3.5 minus 145, I don't hate it. But yeah, some type of violence here does make sense because Perez has those leg kicks. He has that power. He also has a submission game as well. And then Tatsuro Taira, he has that power and he has that incredible submission game. So yeah, some type of violence is what I'll be looking at. Maybe the Taira sub prop, but yeah, nothing sticking out with these odds right here. But the only book that has props out right now, we only have one book that has props out right now. So we'll see what some of these other books come up with. But yeah, I would definitely be taking some shots on something violence related in this fight. I think it's a very violent card and a very violent main event here. So Let me know what you guys have down in the comments. You guys taking the dog shot on Perez? He's been looking good as of late. Or are you taking Taira in this match? And let me know. Best of luck, guys. Like the video, subscribe, and be on the lookout for the full card breakdown of our video, full card breakdown prediction video. And we'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.